Living Water from Deep Wells of Revelation, Volume 1, a collection of messages from the ministry of T. Austin Sparks. The Paralysis of a Spiritual Irregularity by T. Austin Sparks. From observation of the maladies which come upon the people of God and bring arrest to His work through them, we have been much impressed with the fact that the violation of a divine order is the cause of much trouble. If it is true that what God is doing in this age is not just saving individuals as such, but is constituting a body and building a house by the addition of each saved one, then the right position in each is vital to its perfect functioning and its heavenly order. There is an order, and there is a position for each member. It is not given to us, let us say it with emphasis, it is not given to us to appoint the place or to manipulate into position. That is the work of the Holy Spirit. What we do say is that each member has his or her place, and God knows what it is. Under the sovereignty of the Holy Spirit, each member should come into that place. If he fails to do so or gets into a wrong place, he fails in his essential ministry and upsets the effectiveness of the body. God hath set. Articulation is essential to life. Unto each is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. Ephesians 4, verse 7. Having therefore gifts differing according to grace, Romans 12:6. There are not a few illustrations of dislocation and irregularity in the Scriptures. Dathan and Abiram and their company, Aaron and Miriam, Saul going over the head of Samuel, Uzziah presuming into the priest's office. Paul has very much to say on matters of order in the church, and it is not merely the individual position which is of importance, but the relative factor and element. Independent action is as dangerous as dislocation. It robs of covering and protection and exposes to enemy forces. There is a heavenly order, a spiritual system, and the relationships and ministries of believers are to be upon those spiritual principles and a reflection of that heavenly order. What Paul says about woman's place in ministry and the domestic relationships of the saints can only be understood and appreciated in this light. When one called of God to do the work of an evangelist assumes the role of a teacher, or vice versa, or anyone marked out for this particular functioning attempts to do that, or when one goes beyond his scope and assumes any prerogative which is not his by divine ordering, he is in the way of an arrested ministry, and more, he will be landed into serious confusion. People and things, otherwise occupying a vital position in the divine plan, put into their wrong places, have the divine unction withdrawn from them. This becomes manifest, and the spiritually undiscerning conclude that the thing or the person is outside of the divine purpose. Accordingly, they rule them out. Thus much confusion and loss ensues. Undoubtedly, in New Testament times, the recognition of the corporate nature of the church and the definite prayer which followed the baptism of everyone who thereby testified to his identification with Christ was the initial establishing of this relative position, and this truth of articulation, adjustment, and function. The Holy Spirit came in and took up the superintendence from that time, and any disorder thenceforth was against him. In these few lines we have encircled a very wide and important field of truth, and would plead for a prayerful retracing step by step with the Word. The Holy Spirit's method is to get His seal upon us as we move according to His leading, not according to our fancy, choice, aptitude, predilection, or ambition. You will find additional audiobooks produced by Book Ministry by clicking the lower left of your screen.